I said all the way through this, be it when he was charged, or be it when he was found guilty, or be it when he lost the first appeal, and now to this process, that I trust the process because it's the best one we've got. I don't want a world to decide guilt or innocence of people to be what you see on television, what you read in a newspaper, what you read in a book. I don't want it to be Twitter deciding. I don't want it to be mob justice. I want this process to be the one that we adhere to. Now, for those that are half listening, or those that are trying to draw up the list of good people and bad people, I'm not a particular fan of George Pell. But this is the process. I said it all the way through, and I think if you go back and have a look at all of my comments, they're the same tone all the way through with this. But can I also say, for those that are half listening, looking forward to say, there they go again. I, like all decent human beings, and especially parents, think that pedophiles are scum. That anyone who would abuse a child gets off lightly by being able to go to jail for the rest of their life. Okay? No question. What happened today is an adult conversation about process, an adult conversation about justice, an adult conversation about what you can prove and what you can't prove, what stands up and what doesn't stand up. That's the adult conversation. Now, rather than me try to fumble for the right words, there's only one person you want to hear from tonight about this, and it's Andrew Bolt. He followed the very facts all the way from the first day of this, all the way to 7-0 in the High Court. And before people start thinking that this is some sort of ultra-conservative, ultra-right-wing court, this is the same court that made decisions about immigration policy, that somebody born in New Zealand but was travelling here couldn't be booted out of here because they'd broken their visa because they had tangential connections back to Aboriginality. All right? This isn't about ideology. This is about the law and how it is applied in this case. Particularly compelling was Andrew Bolt's case that he made about the improbability of the time frame that was being presented by prosecutors. He illustrated night after night to endless hounds of criticism the facts that ended up being supported today 7-0 in the High Court. I spoke to him just after his show and between mine tonight, where I wanted to ask him about if it was so clear in his mind, if it was so clear in the High Court's mind, how did this ever get from the earliest stages of police investigation to a courtroom in the first place?
The police opened this investigation into Pell without having had a single complaint. It was their initiative, which is extraordinary, right? They then sought publicly through the media, with ads and everything, people who might have been abused at the cathedral around whenever. Now, we've seen from another miscarriage of justice involving child sexual abuse in America, for instance, in Britain, for instance, that when you do that, inevitably you taint the evidence. You might get victims who recall perfectly an abuse, yes, but you're also likely to plant, particularly in this feverish atmosphere, plant false memories in people. They might have been abused, and then they think, oh, maybe it was him. It was him, you know, that kind of thing. Or you encourage people who don't know quite what happened, but now it all becomes clear because, you know, Pell. Or you encourage people who might be after a quick buck. That's how it happened. And I find it just astonishing. And when the police, it also puts the police in a really weird position where they have to justify what they've done. So they actually become an enabler for the person making the complaint. They want that complaint to be true to justify what they've done. They help massage the facts until it fits. In this case, the complainant said, oh, the abuse happened this particular year. It was that particular year. It happened here. No, it didn't quite, you know. So the statement was honed until it was fit to travel. And even then, the Office of Public Prosecution said, nah, nothing in it. And what we need now to know, and the police won't answer, and the Office of Public Prosecution wouldn't give me an answer today, is it true that the Office of Public Prosecution declined to fund the prosecution, but the Victoria Police did?
Wow. If it had gone the other way, you know what would have happened. You know that all of the finger pointing and suggestions of, does this institution or that institution have the ability to reflect upon itself on the mistakes that it's made? You know all of that was coming. Conversely, the question has to be asked in reverse. Do you believe that the variety of institutions, and I know that the actual answer to this question goes for 2 hours because it has to, but do you believe that the institutions who got it wrong in law and in practice have the ability to reform themselves, from the media to the legal system to that policing element that we talked about today? And let's also be very clear for people who are half listening, the false hope delivered to the person who came forward.
Well, the short answer is probably no, to be honest. I mean, all I need to do is look at the reaction of some of those institutions. You take the ABC. This is the biggest media outfit in Australia. TV stations, radio station, online paper. They've persecuted Pell for years and years and years, and not a single ABC presenter or single ABC journalist has ever said, hey, wait a minute, these facts, these claims against Pell have huge holes in them. It's weak. Not one. Every one of them who spoke on this matter spoke against Pell. And they include, of course, Louise Milligan, who got prizes for a book retailing allegations against Pell, every single one of which has fallen over. Every single one of which, right? They actually doubled down today. They should have been ashamed of themselves. They should have reflected. Instead, we saw tweet after tweet from ABC presenter after ABC presenter after ABC journalist attacking the decision or implying that Pell was not innocent at all, Barry Cassidy, and suggesting, well, if he wasn't guilty of this, he's guilty of something else. This shows to me a vicious echo chamber and pack attack on a supposedly unbiased media organisation. And if the ABC can do that to George Pell, they can do it to anyone. It is frightening what they've done. As for the Victorian Supreme Court, they have got a real smack from the High Court judges about how they failed to take serious matters into proper consideration in dismissing Pell's appeal. One judge, Justice Weinberg, found for Pell when Pell went to the Victorian Court of Appeal. Brilliant decision, people should read it. But the other two judges, one is the Chief Justice of Victoria, the other one is the President of the Court of Appeal. They are the two most senior judges you can get. And they got this so badly wrong. I'm not seeing much hope there of reflection and reform. As for the Victoria Police, that depends on the Victorian government, and I saw nothing from the Victorian government to indicate that they were dissatisfied with the police handling of this. In fact, the Premier, Daniel Andrews, tweeted, used this occasion to say, victims of child sexual abuse, I believe you. And I'm thinking, well, I believe real victims, but is he saying that the accuser was right and Pell was unfairly let off? Is that what he's really saying? That's what it sounded like to me.